The FBI finally decided to get on this case, and they put out a warning on Twitter about organized crime and organized retail theft. This was the picture they chose to put on Twitter. They didn't choose any of the thousands of videos we actually have of people engaged in organized retail theft, the thing they were warning about. They chose a stock image of two white sorority girls. And if you look really carefully, you can see the one in the gray trench coat allegedly putting a purse into her trench coat. Former FBI Special Agent Thomas Baker is here, author of the book Fall of the FBI. Mr. Baker, how is it that the FBI is supposed to catch criminals if they're afraid to put their faces on Twitter?
Leland, this is an example, a continuing example, and a very graphic one, of the danger of the woke culture today and the woke culture that has permeated the FBI, beginning under Mueller and continuing under the disastrous leadership of James Comey. I mean, it would be a joke and be funny, except it's not funny.
Why do you say it's not funny? This is the tweet. Americans learn what the FBI does to combat these crimes on the federal level to protect shoppers across the country is the tweet. You say it would be a joke, but it's not funny. It's not funny. Why isn't it funny?
Well, the merchants who are being robbed and vandalized by mobs in their hoods and everything else are not these two young, well-dressed women are not representative of the kinds of mobs that are attacking these stores in every big city in America today and actually putting a lot of people out of business. And it's a fear of offending people that causes the FBI to pull out the stock photo of two very well-dressed young women. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And last I looked, there were over 6,000 comments on this tweet on the FBI's official website, and almost every one of them thinks this is ridiculous. But it's not funny.
To be fair, we asked the FBI for comment. We asked them why they chose this photo. We asked them if they had ever busted an organized theft ring of people who looked like this. We had a whole lot of questions, and none of which they were interested in answering. They didn't even get back to us, ghosted us, in the words of one of our producers. I think about this sort of dystopian reality, right, we're living in. Girls can be boys. The founding fathers, according to Google AI, are black. Organized retail theft is done by white sorority girls, on and on and on. It's one thing for that to be part of the culture, fine. I'm wondering if it actually permeates beyond the FBI's PR team that runs their Twitter account into law enforcement that the FBI is supposed to carry out.
Absolutely, Leland, and this is the problem, and this is the problem I and others are writing about. This particular instance, it maybe is not that dangerous, and it's almost laughable because nobody believes that these two young girls are representative of that problem. But another example that came up in recent months is the FBI's analysts, these woke analysts, came up with this scheme to target traditional Catholics, seeing them as a problem. And of course, they're not. They're not the problem. They're not a problem. And there's no legitimate reason for targeting them. But this is one of many manifestations that are coming forward of the woke mindset. These intelligent...
We had this situation, right? There was a time that under J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI had other problems than it does right now. Is it possible to bring it back? You talked about Mueller and Comey, who were more politicians than they were law enforcement agents. I would put Louis Freeh in the sort of the old world of an FBI agent's agent. But now you go through Mueller, you go through Comey. Now you have Wray. Does Wray seem to have any interest in changing this?
Well, so far, he seems not to recognize the problem. Every time one of these problems come to the fore, his response is, well, those people are no longer with us. We got rid of the bad apples. But there's an underlying cultural problem that started with Mueller and then Comey. And you're right to exclude Louis Freeh, because Louis Freeh was of the old school. The old school when agents ran the shop and where we were trained and we followed the Constitution. There's a lack of attention to the Constitution. People are imposing their own political viewpoints in the mix here, and the culture has to be addressed.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.